So here's the thing I wanted to
Here's the stocking stuffers.
Yeah. Here's the thing I wanted to jump to, because this kept making me madder and madder as the weekend went on. I mean, for the 12 or so hours that somehow this Bogdan, Bobby, you're moving your mouth, but no words are coming out.
That mute button. It was an angry weekend for John.
Okay, so let's get into this here. Okay, so after the Celtics miss out on Hayward, there's a ton of Danny anger, and we can get into that again whether we feel like it. But I think it's well established that he lost 3 premium free agents in 2 years, didn't get anything in return, and whether or not he could have saved them or not, we definitely had some issues with the not consolidating picks, maybe trading a Rozier or seeing a few things ahead of time before you got to this thing, because a lot of stuff walked out that door without anything, and Hayward was a real kick in the balls. So then all of a sudden Celtics Twitter explodes. We're going to get Bogdan because we're going to get a mid-level, and we're going to get this, and we're going to sign and trade, and it's going to be amazing, and we can pay him. And everybody seemed to get on board that this was a done deal, just simply because the math could work. But never at any point in time were the Celtics considered or reported by anybody who actually has sources as a real suitor for Bogdanovic here. And then predictably, Atlanta, who was the front runner for him all the time, signs him to an offer sheet, which Sacramento is certainly going to match, which means he's off the board. And so this was a fairly predictable outcome, but everybody got themselves in a lather and then started dunking on all of the Danny critics out there who were saying Danny blew it. And they're like, no, because we're going to have Bogdan and Tristan and Teague, and that's better than Cantor and Hayward and whatever. So Danny wins again. Give me a break. It would have been great if that happened. And it's the same thing when Danny was able to pull the badness of Kyrie into getting Kemba and then almost snuck out Al too and almost saved the day. But I don't think this was ever real. And it seems like it's not going to happen. So I think people just have to start coming to grips with, this is the Celtics team you have. This is the team. Get used to it and then embrace it. And stop with these fantasy dream scenarios, but Bobby's going to tell us why one of them still exists.
So the Bogdan one,
it is twisted mind.
Sorry, was that enough? Did I encapsulate all of it in my rant, Jimmy?
Yo, you fucking target. Nailed it.
The Bogdan idea is a metaphor in some sense because it's a possibility.
A metaphor
that comes into play when this season starts. No matter who it is, Bogdan, any other different target out there that could possibly be an upgrade on the wing for the Celtics, because they're going to have as much, if this Hayward sign and trade goes through, as $37 million in a trade exception to sign anyone at any cost in a trade here. So Bogdan signing an offer sheet here. If the Kings match and he goes back to Sacramento, which seems like it's going to happen here, and Sacramento goes through the year, decides that they don't want him, decides they want to dump that contract, even if they do that before the year, Celtics make a ton of sense. And if all the Kings are getting back is a trade exception there, all that money comes right off the books for them, which, if the Celtics are sending a future first-round pick, maybe multiple future first-round picks, I think it makes a ton of sense here. And as John said, if Bogdan lands on this current team, if someone else down the line lands on this current team at the wing who's an upgrade there over Semi Ojeleye or whoever else, you're looking at a better Celtics team for next year.
If Sacramento signs him, he can't be traded until midseason, right?
Yeah, that's why I say end of the season.
Okay,
so really think
again,
a couple of
he can be at the All-Star. What's that, Josue?
You think a couple of first-round picks will get it done, though? You think that would be it?
It depends where Sacramento's at, because they're just not a contending team right now. They're looking to unload guys.
This is all just being made up anyways. This is all just thin air.
It's make-believe.
Right.
Again,
you
don't know.
John,
well, that's why I call it a metaphor.
You can't criticize Ainge yet. You have to wait until the end of next season to see if he can still get Bogdan. So everyone hold off from your criticism.
Well, this is the point.
Especially with this kind of season.
We don't even know if Danny's interested. We know nothing
exactly
other than a few people on Twitter
just threw this name out here.
A few people on Twitter just wished it into existence. Hey, we could get Bogdan, and everyone's like, "That's awesome. Let's do it."
The money
so
works.
Let's go, Bogdan. Yeah.
So what did we talk about when the Indiana and the Boston
talked about in like a reporter way? No reporter.
No, it was a name. It was an example. Bogdan could be. I don't know.
People were printing jerseys. They were set.
It starts with that. It starts with that idea, Bob, and then like people take off with it, and all of a sudden he's being seen at Logan Airport. You know what I mean? Like
it's an idea. It's an idea of a guy who would have fit into that salary slot. I got to do the math off the top of my head here, but he comes in under $20 million a year, which is just what the Celtics can use without hitting that luxury tax. So it's an idea. It's the best of probably any guy that you would be able to get for that. It's maybe somewhat of a dream, but it shows that the Celtics now have the flexibility that they were looking for by doing that Indiana trade. Ryan Bernardoni came out yesterday and said, there's a distinct possibility that the Celtics are happier coming out of this with just money to use rather than a Miles Turner and a Doug McDermott, as we talked about.